Thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. So today we're going to be talking about The Fascinators by Andrew Eliopolus, published by Quill Tree Books. I was lucky enough to get this book as an ARC. Not that I read it in time, but I did thoroughly enjoy this book. I thought it was a great blend of magical realism, magic, and, realism, because it really grounds the novel in our universe, but there's magic all around us, and I thought that was really a unique take on the storytelling. And it brings the story to a small town in Georgia. So I also thought that was really nice. I mean, this is a small town that anyone can really relate to, even if you haven't grown up in a small town. You've seen small towns, so you can really. And Eliopolus, he really knows how to create this small southern town, with a lot of heart and a lot of grounding to make it relatable to the reader. So I really do appreciate the fact that Eliopolus was able to ground the reader in this world, to make it relatable to the reader. And the magic itself offers a realistic interpretation as far as magic is concerned. You have spell books, and you have spells that are done by handwork and associations. And associations are really like the feeling behind the spell. It's really similar to the magicians in that way, where it goes with the handwork, but it also has some relatability, or not relatability. It has some. God, I'm like blanking on the word. It draws a lot of allusions to Wicca, Wicca magic and how Wiccans practice. So I also think that's another integral part in the story, and what really makes it fascinating is the fact that it draws on something people are somewhat familiar with, with the magicians, but it also creates a stronger, more contemporary feel to it as well, with the structure of how the magic works in this world. You have your spell books, and you have your incantations, you have your handwork, and you have the feeling behind the spells. And I really like that overall, how the magic works in this novel. I know I don't sound like I have a lot of energy today, and I do apologize for that. My allergies are killing me with all the weather here in Florida. So it's really giving me a bad headache, but stay with me. I know I don't sound like I have a lot of energy, but this is a novel I really want to talk about. Now, as for the storytelling itself, I love how Eliopolus, he used some of his own history, what he went through growing up to sort of build this novel. Now, here, you have Sam. He's sort of the central character in the novel. And he's out, and he's proud, and that's great. That's what I love about him. But the way, there is still some homophobia in the novel that he does have to contend with. And I love that he has the support of his family, and he has the support of his friends, regardless, no matter what. I also like the allusion to homophobia with the magic. You have a bunch of Christians, bunch of churchgoers, I should just say, who think anyone who uses magic is going to go to hell. It's a perfect allusion to homophobia and the world that we're in right now. I don't agree with it, personally. I think it's a load of crap. I think people should be allowed to be who they are and not face such hatred, in the world. I was raised Catholic, So I believe that it is not for us to judge, That's my personal belief. That's all up to God. He should be the only one who's allowed to judge. So I think it's a really powerful imagery or illusion rather, that Andrew was able to draw in creating this novel, with his use of magic. Yes, his character faces some homophobia. People do use derogatory terms occasionally in the novel, but people tend to dislike him more because he uses magic more than anything, because he uses magic proudly more than anything. And I think that is going to resonate with a lot of readers. It certainly resonated with me. As far as the storytelling goes, I thought it was a powerful, impactful moment anytime this happened in the story, because it's real, it's real life. Yes, it's magic and it's fantasy, but it's still drawing on something that's real. I've said this before. I had a teacher who believed genre fiction is not real fiction, and her reasoning was it doesn't say anything real, and I think that's a little bullshit. I even wrote a genre fiction story for that class because I thought it was a load of bullshit. But this is one of those novels where it's a genre. It's genre fiction, but it's still contemporary, and it still tells a powerful story and relays a powerful message to the reader. So I think, a lot of teachers who think that way and a lot of people who think that way, they really need to get their heads out of their asses, because you're missing out on a whole lot. You're missing out on a whole lot of stories, on a lot of wonder, and you're missing out on hearing people's hearts in their story. And Andrew definitely puts his heart into the story. Now, for the characters, I know I sound like I'm about to say something bad about the characters, and I really thought it was structured really well, the dynamics, because the story is mostly about friendship. It is about first loves. It is about coming to terms with growing up and growing out of your old friends, because all three of these, from James to Sam to Delia, they're kind of growing out of each other. And I think all three of them have a lot of guilt because they don't want to grow out of each other. They've been best friends all their life, but they all want different things in life. They're all going through their own personal shit, and they're not really sharing with one another. The moment you stop trusting your closest friends, and the moment you stop wanting to share with your friends, I think that's definitely a blockage in your friendship, and it definitely starts to show that your friendship is kind of breaking. Sam went away for the summer, and he came back, and James got into a bunch of trouble in the summer, and he's unfortunately sucked his friends into this trouble as well. And this trouble, it's all about a spell book with this magic cult called True Light, And Delia herself kind of gets sucked into it because she's sort of the forgotten child. She's constantly forgotten by her parents, occasionally forgotten by her friends until they really need her, and I don't think her friends really realize that she's always sort of getting forgotten and left behind. So what she wants in life is power, and it kind of sends her down this, not downward spiral, but down this dark path. I think it'd be really interesting if Andrew wanted to write a story later on about Delia. I would definitely love to see her return to this universe, and I definitely love to see where her story's going to go, because there's so many possibilities. Can she become a villain? Can she recover from the things that she's done in this novel? Who knows? But she's a compelling, relatable character because she has this pain that she's never let anyone in on before. And people see it, but, she has such a tough front that they don't really think anything of it. As for Sam and James, James is struggling with an unstable home, and he's really unsure of his future. But he's a very powerful magician. And he has feelings for Sam. It's clear he has some sort of feelings for Sam, but he's unwilling to act on them. Whereas, Sam, he loves James, and he does want to talk to James about this sort of situation that they're in. But, I mean, he comes to terms with the fact that James really isn't good enough for him, rather. He's a okay friend, but he's not good enough for him. And I do appreciate the ending that Sam has sort of accepted the fact that he has grown out of his oldest friends, and has moved on with his life in a little way. That's not to say that he's cut them out completely. Yes, he's still friends with James. He's made some more friends, but that's powerful. He's made more friends. He's sort of been stuck inside this trio that he felt content. He was never willing to make more friends, but he has now, and I think that's really an empowering moment for him when he decides for himself that he doesn't need to be sort of trapped within this group of friends, that he can be something else. And it's a really good journey to see Sam grow throughout the novel, because he is the central character. You do get to see snippets of Delia's perspective, James' perspective, and Liv's perspectives. She's another minor character. You do get to see other perspectives just to see the scope of the story, but it doesn't really detract from anything. You get a deeper insight into some of these dynamics by looking outside of Sam's perspective, and I think that's really good storytelling, and it's really good character writing, because you can even give... I hardly see this, it's really hard to do as someone who's attempted it. When you introduce other point of views, it's always a wonder of, are you going to go back to that character? As some authors, when they do different point of views, each character gets the same amount of time almost to develop the story. But what I think is really cool, what's really interesting here, is he utilizes his other characters by giving them one, maybe 2 or 3 chapters by themselves to sort of just give the story scope, and to give some insight into these other characters, to see where the story is going. It doesn't just distract the reader, and it doesn't make the reader wonder, what's going to happen next to this character, because you're kind of already focused on Sam being the central character, which I think is really good. It is very sturdy, steady writing, and that's what I loved. Ultimately, I give the story 3.5 stars. It flows beautifully, and it tackles identity and sexuality and friendship while also captivating readers with a brilliant use of magic and how it connects people. So, once again, this was The Fascinators by Andrew Eliopolus. Go ahead and check it out from your local library, and if money is not too tight, please remember to support your local bookseller. You can purchase books on Barnes & Noble, on Bookshop, which actually donate some of the proceeds to your local bookstores, or IndieBound. So on that note, have a great rest of your days, you guys, and happy reading.